Here are the top stories for today, April 29, 2022. Metro Manila and other areas in the country will remain at Alert Level 1 until mid-May despite threats of the COVID-19 surge. All plans are in place for the 2022 polls, the Department of Interior and Local Government assures as they ramp up preparations for safety and security. Health Department and Commission on Elections urge COVID-19 positives to strongly refrain from going out of isolation on May 9, clarifying earlier statements. National Prosecution Service insists Kerwin Espinosa's statement remains null over the pending cases of Senator Leila de Lima. The palace maintains the relentless war on drugs is making strides despite President Rodrigo Duterte's admission he's wrong to vow to end the drug problem in 3 to 6 months. And a 6.4 kilogram milkfish tops the heaviest Bangus competition in Pangasinan's festival. Good day, I'm Marita Muaje. Welcome to the PNA Newsroom. Despite the threat of a COVID-19 surge, Metro Manila and over 60 areas in the country will remain at the most lenient alert level until mid-May. More on this from Stephanie Sevillano.
Alert Level 1 will be extended until mid-May in the great majority of areas in the Philippines. Despite the threat of the COVID-19 surge in the country, the Interagency Task Force announced over 900 cities and municipalities to be under the most lenient alert level starting May 1 until May 15. This includes cities in Metro Manila and other areas in Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao. Metro Manila has leveled up to a low-risk classification from the previous very low risk. The Octa Research Group said a 0.9 increase in the COVID-19 reproduction number in the National Capital Region has been recorded from April 21 to 27 compared to the week prior. Moreover, more than 40 provinces and cities will be under Alert Level 2 for the same time period. These areas include Benguet, Ifugao, Nueva Vizcaya, Quezon Province, Palawan, Bohol, Cebu, Western and Eastern Samar, Davao del Norte, and Davao del Sur, Basilan, Sulu, and Tawi-Tawi, among others. Meanwhile, the Philippine Genome Center assured the public they are closely monitoring the possible emergence of Omicron variants in the country. PGC Executive Director Dr. Cynthia Saloma, however, noted they have minimum samples to test given the very low cases of COVID-19.
For now, actually, we have a lot of kits that are capable of doing 750 per run, but hindi natin po ito USEC nagagamit kasi kaunti masyado. So normally, we will just sequence 48. Ang pinakamarami na po USEC is about 350.
Of the tested samples since March, 95% of the sequenced cases were found to be BA.2.3 sublineage of Omicron. Besides the Finnish woman, no other subvariant and additional mutations cases have been monitored thus far.
Pero wala pa po tayong natanggap na at pinabantayan po natin yan kung meron para maka-contact tracing naman tayo. Pero for now, wala po tayong na-detect na BA.2.12.1 and so far we have also not detected any of the hybrid variants, yung mga XE, mga XH at kung ano-ano pa, wala pa po tayong na-detect.
For the PNA Newsroom, I am Stephanie Sevillano.
The Quezon City Epidemiology and Surveillance Unit clarified there were only 4 close contacts of the country's first BA.2.12 Omicron subvariant in the city, and they all tested negative for COVID-19. Contrary to the earlier figure of 9, Unit Head Dr. Rolly Cruz said 3 of them have joined the Finnish woman in her seminar in Bangus City, while the other one has arrived with her in the Philippines. Moreover, Cruz explained that the recent COVID-19 upticks in Quezon City are not related to the Omicron subvariant. Instead, they are looking into it as a result of the previous holiday activities during the Holy Week. The local government has earlier insisted the city remains in a very low-risk category. Baguio City is prepared in case another surge in COVID-19 cases occurs. This following the country's first reported case of the Omicron variant sublineage BA2.12 in the area. Chief Information Officer Eileen Refuerzo said the city government still enforces its prevent, detect, isolate, treat, reintegrate strategies, even if some response operations had been scaled down in the past weeks. The Department of Health confirmed that the first case of the Omicron variant was detected in Bangus City. The patient is said to be a 52-year-old female from Finland who exhibits symptoms 9 days after her arrival. She then recovered and has gone back to Finland last week. The Department of Interior and Local Government assured the public the police force and other personnel are ready for the national and local elections. DILG spokesperson Undersecretary Jonathan Malaya said they have designated 16,820 police personnel for election duties. He added there is almost 42,000 personnel designated to watch over 5,000 checkpoints nationwide. They have also increased units on duty in more than 100 election hotspots. Moreover, Malaya insisted postponement of the election is never an option despite the COVID-19 surge threat. He said that the DILG, together with the Health Department, have secured isolation polling guidelines where health and local personnel will be on standby. Malaya vowed they are ready to ensure security and health safety of the public.
Dito po sa dalawang ito, malaki ang paghahanda natin at handang-handa na po ang buong DILG organization para gawin ang kanyang tungkulin. Yun pong kung sakasakali man na may magtangkang i-disrupt ang ating eleksyon sa Mayo 9, may contingency plan na po ang Comelec and they have prepared and made ready the civil disturbance unit of the PNP para harapin kung meron mang pagtatangka.
Department of Interior and Local Government spokesperson Jonathan Malaya assured a possible approval of the new national police officer in charge will not affect poll preps. He said all plans and preparations are in place as early as last year. Malaya added the public should not worry as it will be a very smooth transition. He said this following the recommendation of the DILG for a new acting PNP chief or officer in charge. Secretary Eduardo Años said names of 2 senior officials for the post have already been submitted to President Rodrigo Duterte. However, Malaya said it's still up on the discretion of the President to extend PNP Chief Police General Leonardo Carlos' post as he is set to retire a day prior to election.
Yung paghahanda po kasi ng PNP ay nung nakaraang taon pa lamang ginagawa na natin yung kanilang paghahanda. Lahat po ng plano ay already in place, lahat po ng direktiba ay nagawa na, lahat ng koordinasyon sa baba ay nagawa na rin.
The Department of Health advised COVID-19 positive patients to remain in their isolation areas for full recovery on the May 9 polls. The DOH said they are not prohibiting anyone to exercise their right to vote. However, they insisted that the guidelines suggest COVID patients must strongly refrain from going out. Likewise, the Commission on Elections clarified their statement yesterday that COVID positives may cast their votes given the go signal of isolation facilities. The Comelec said patients should finish their quarantine days in facilities or at home. Meanwhile, individuals who are not confirmed positive but symptomatic may still cast their votes in the Comelec's isolation polling area. 4 presidential and 3 vice presidential candidates will join the panel interview sessions of the Commission on Elections next week. Comelec Commissioner George Garcia confirmed the numbers and urged other candidates to attend the event, considering the opportunity of its wide reach. The Comelec will conduct the panel sessions with the kapisanan ng mga broadcaster ng Pilipinas next week. Garcia noted that this would give them an hour of free airtime to KBP platforms with 1,000 members. Still ahead, the Comelec proposes to declare May 9 Election Day as a special non-working holiday. Malacanang maintains the Duterte administration continues to make progress in its war on drugs. We're back after a quick break. Keep it here on the PNA Newsroom.
The COVID-19 pandemic has greatly changed our lives for the worse. Lives and jobs were lost and economies reached a meltdown. Thanks to the arrival of safe and effective vaccines, we are one step closer to normalcy. It's time to do our part, get vaccinated for our safety and for our recovery.
If you are there in that community, go there and have yourself vaccinated by any of the vaccines available. They are all potent, they are all effective.
I would like to appeal to all our kababayans, please get vaccinated against COVID-19 and be the government partner in preventing further spread of the disease. I encourage you to get vaccinated as soon as possible time. These vaccines are safe and they are the key to reopening our society. The need for international solidarity and cooperation cannot be made clearer than this pandemic, because everyone is safe. No one is safe globally until everybody is safe.
Vaccines work.
The Commission on Elections requested to President Rodrigo Duterte to declare May 9 as a special non-working holiday nationwide. The Comelec made the proposal with an aim to provide Filipinos adequate time to cast their votes for the national and local elections. Meanwhile, Comelec Overseas Voting Head Marlon Casquejo said over 175,000 Filipinos abroad have already voted. Most of them were from Middle East and African countries, followed by Pinoys across Asia and the Pacific region. Police personnel will serve as poll watchers of a village in North Cotabato caught in the middle of a clan war.
Police officers will serve as electoral board of a village in Piquet, North Cotabato after assigned teachers backed out. Lieutenant Colonel Bernard Dayo, North Cotabato Deputy Police Director, said the teachers refused to serve at the two clustered precincts in Barangay Talitay because they have relatives who were locked in a clan war. Dayo assured the 6 police officers are trained and proven qualified to administer the electoral process. In a separate interview, Piquet Municipal Election Officer Tarata Ingid said some teachers are worried of serving as election officers after having experienced violent situations involving warring candidates. In Negros Oriental, a total of 28 individuals were arrested for illegal possession of firearms in relation to the Comelec ban on firearms and deadly weapons. The violators were arrested mostly during police operations and at joint Comelec police military checkpoints between January 9 and April 23. Complaints for violation of Republic Act 10591 in relation to the Comelec gun ban were filed against them. In Surigao del Sur, the Community Environment and Natural Resources Office of Bislig City removed over 300 election campaign materials in its intensified Oplan Baklas. These materials were found posted along public roads, particularly in different non-designated poster areas. Last week, the agency also removed 304 election campaign materials posted on trees and non-designated poster areas in Bislig City and the town of Dagupan. The DENR and the Caraga region reported Thursday the removal of 4,763 pieces of tarpaulins bearing political propaganda that were posted on trees and other structures along non-designated poster areas. Republic Act 357 prohibits the cutting, destroying, or injuring of trees and plants along public roads, in plazas, parks, school premises, or other public ground. For the PNA Newsroom, I am Stephanie Sevillano.
Kerwin Espinosa's recantation has no effect on the pending cases of Senator Leila de Lima, according to the National Prosecution Office. NPS Prosecutor General Benedicto Malcontento insisted Espinosa was never considered a witness in the first place. He said it both applies to their first and second prosecution against the senator allegedly involved in the illegal drug trade in the country. Malcontento said neither his testimonies in Senate were considered in the prosecution, nor was he covered by a witness protection program under the Department of Justice. Espinosa has recently debunked all his former claims against De Lima, saying he was just under pressure. Vice presidential candidate Kiko Pangilinan, meanwhile, immediately called for De Lima's release from detention following Espinosa's move. A group of former New People's Army rebels launched a book that seeks to expose the inner workings of the rebel group and its front organizations. The author said the book, Unmasking the Myth of Communism in the Philippines, is their way of redeeming themselves for their involvement with the Communist Party of the Philippines, which seeks the violent overthrow of the government. The book extensively describes the CPP-NPA as an organization and the way it infiltrates the various layers of society to achieve its ends. The book is a compendium of first-hand accounts and analysis of their experience as former cadres of the rebel organization. The lineup of authors include Joy James Saguinho, former secretary of the NPA Guerrilla Front 20 in Southern Mindanao, former National Democratic Front spokesperson Noel Legazpi, and former Secretary General Jake Lanes of Lakas ng Kabataan, among others. Malacanang maintains that President Rodrigo Duterte's administration is making significant strides in its relentless campaign against illegal drugs. This even as Duterte admitted that he was wrong when he promised to end the drug problem in 3 to 6 months in office. Acting Presidential Spokesperson and Communications Secretary Martin Andanar said the anti-narcotics drive led to the seizure of billions of pesos worth of illegal drugs and the dismantling of drug dens and clandestine shabu laboratories. Andanar added Duterte is merely giving emphasis to the gravity of the drug problem in the country. In a speech delivered in Cordova, Cebu, Duterte urged drug smugglers to drop illegal drugs if they want peace. As of February 2022, around almost 10,000 kilograms of shabu amounting to 63.43 billion pesos have been seized since the onset of the campaign in 2016. Over 330,000 drug suspects were arrested, while around 24,000 villages have been also cleared of illegal drugs. In our business news, San Miguel Corporation has signified its intention to invest in what may possibly become the biggest power plant in Cebu. Mayor Junard Chan said SMC will invest 60 billion pesos for the construction of a 600 megawatt liquefied natural gas-powered plant in the city of Lapu-Lapu in Mactan Island. Chan said SMC's entry into the power sector in Lapu-Lapu City is expected to help solve Cebu's electric power supply woes and provide jobs to the residents of Mactan. He also said that more big businessmen informed him of their intention to invest and contribute to the economic growth in Lapu-Lapu City. Lapu-Lapu City, including the island villages of Ulango Group of Islands and the municipality of Cordova, is under the distribution franchise area of Mactan Electric Company. More stories from the newsroom. President Duterte calls for unity among Muslim and Christian Filipinos. And the Department of Health declares Bicol region as malaria-free. Details ahead, stay with the PNA Newsroom.
Hi everyone, James Deacon here. The COVID-19 vaccines are finally here, and the government wants to make sure the vaccines reach us. So let's do our part by making sure that we get registered to be included in the vaccination list of our LGU. You can register right in the comfort and safety of your own homes through your LGU's online registration platform. And you can also register on-site in the vaccination venues or through your barangay. Remember, getting vaccinated is the first step towards ending this pandemic. So let's do our part as disciplined citizens. Bida ang may disiplina. Magpakarehistro, magpabakuna para sa ligtas na pamilya, ligtas na bayan.
President Rodrigo Duterte remains hopeful that Muslims and Christians will be united in setting aside their differences for peace. During the 501st anniversary of the victory of Mactan in Lapu-Lapu City, Duterte called for Muslims to be less resentful of Christians. Likewise, Duterte urged Christians to be friendly with Muslims, noting that people of different faiths must not be viewed as different from them. Duterte said he wanted to leave a legacy of making strides to get the two faiths to be more united. Earlier at the inauguration of the Cebu-Cordova Link Expressway project, Duterte reiterated his appeal for Muslim and Christians to be more accepting of each other.
So, ingon ana lang unta akong ikabilin. Ang legacy nga akong magkuhan is, kanibang mag-mix ta. You try to mix. Munang kanang mga settlement, tuyoon yun na ako nga magdili, ang Kristiyanos o ang Katoliko o unsabang reliyon, ibutang yun ako sila, i-mix na ako. Dili na ako nga, dire Muslim, dili ko gusto ana. Ayaw ko yan. Dito, kaming mga Muslim, dito kami, stop it. Kamu po mga Kristiyanos, try to make friendly. Kaya ang mga tao na guna, it's just yung religion nila. Wala na tayong away ngayon sa religion, whether it's Allah or God the Father, still the same for all of us.
Task Force Bangon Marawi has welcomed the newly passed compensation law, which will soon lead to the full rehabilitation of the war-torn Marawi City. More on this from Claire Gighe.
The Task Force Bangon Marawi or TFBM and the Internally Displaced Persons or IDPs brought about by the Marawi siege years ago just rejoiced with the recently passed compensation law. Republic Act No. 11696, otherwise known as the Marawi Siege Victims Compensation Act of 2022, was signed by President Rodrigo Roa Duterte on April 13 this year to provide reparation and compensation for persons and families whose property were destructed due to the firefight between the military forces and the Islamic State of Iraq and Syria or ISIS-inspired Maute Group in 2017.
The passage of the Marawi Siege Compensation Act of 2022 will pave the way for the complete rehabilitation of our country's lone Islamic city and a big boost for Marawi residents to finally rebuild their homes and return to their normal lives with adequate public infrastructures as a catalyst for growth and sustainable development.
Marawi Sultanate League Chairman Sultan Asar Sampaco then underscored that the new law will be a significant help, especially for the residents who do not have adequate budget for the reconstruction of their damaged property in Ground Zero.
Magiging pang-umpisa yan para maitayo nila ang kanilang mga. Kami po sa Marawi Sultanate League ay matagal nang sinusubaybayan ang passage ng compensation bill. Kami ay natutuwa na before the end of the term of President Duterte ay naisabatas na ang compensation bill.
Meanwhile, displaced persons themselves conveyed their happiness after hearing the news of the approval of their much-awaited law.
Sana gagawin na nila ng mabilisan. Tuloy-tuloy na. Salamat po kay President Duterte dahil na naipirma niya itong compensation bill.
With the passage of the Marawi Siege Victims Compensation Act of 2022, property owners from the identified 24 affected barangays and other affected areas mentioned thereto will be bound to receive their monetary assistance, subject to evaluation of their qualification to the set guidelines. For PNA Newsroom, Claire Gigha of the Philippine Information Agency, Lanao del Sur.
The Department of Health has declared the Bicol region malaria-free. DOH Bicol said the Regional Epidemiology Surveillance Unit has reported 0 malaria cases in the region since 2012. In 2020, about 241 million cases of malaria were recorded worldwide. Malaria is caused by the parasite Plasmodium that is often transmitted to humans through the bite of the Anopheles mosquito. The DOH said the disease can be avoided by using nets, insecticide spray, and removing mosquito breeding areas, especially in high-risk areas. In news overseas, vaccine manufacturer Moderna is asking for emergency use authorization from the U.S. Food and Drug Administration to use its COVID-19 vaccine for children 6 months to 5 years old. Moderna expressed confidence that mRNA 1273 will be able to safely protect children against the coronavirus and will be specially welcomed by parents and caregivers. The U.S. has yet to authorize the use of COVID-19 vaccines for children younger than 5 years old. Moderna officials have said the FDA is expected to move fast, and a Pfizer official suggested its vaccine for younger children could be available in June if authorized. For its part, the FDA said it needed complete applications from vaccine manufacturers in order to finish its review. The winner of the heaviest Bangus in Pangasinan's annual festival rodeo weighs 6.24 kilograms. The Bangus Rodeo is one of the festival's institutional events since its launch in 2002. Bangus Festival 2022 Secretariat Head Maximo Tan said the return of the Bangus Rodeo is a sign of the good quality of milkfish products in the city and how the residents value the Dagupan Bangus. Marcos Disciple is the owner of the winning Bangus. The competition also recorded the longest Dagupan Bangus, the prettiest Dagupan Bangus, fastest Bangus classifier, fastest Bangus deboner, and fastest Bangus eater. Let's take another look at today's biggest stories. Metro Manila and other areas in the country will remain at alert level 1 until mid-May despite threats of the COVID-19 surge. All plans are in place for the 2022 polls, the Department of Interior and Local Government assures as they ramp up preparations for safety and security. Health Department and Commission on Elections urge COVID-19 positives to strongly refrain from going out of isolation on May 9, clarifying earlier statements. National Prosecution Service insists Kerwin Espinosa's statement remains null over the pending cases of Senator Leila de Lima. The palace maintains the relentless war on drugs is making strides despite President Rodrigo Duterte's admission he's wrong to vow to end the drug problem in 3 to 6 months. And a 6.4 kilogram milkfish tops the heaviest Bangus competition in Pangasinan's festival. As Filipinos, we all have a vital role to play in preventing the spread of COVID-19. So remember, wear face masks and face shields. Wash your hands often. Practice safe physical distancing. Go out only for essential reasons. And get vaccinated as soon as possible to protect ourselves, our families, and the community. Together, we can beat COVID-19. Thank you for watching another episode of the PNA Newsroom. For more news content, check our webpage or log on to the Philippine News Agency's Facebook and Twitter accounts. For more stories about the government and how it serves Filipinos, look for these hashtags in all of our social media platforms and websites. We are shown on the pages of the PCOO in these attached agencies. Also, you may watch us on television on PTV4 and IBC 13. And that's your daily dose of the biggest stories that you need to know from the PNA Newsroom. We tell stories that inspire change. I'm Marita Muaje. Stay safe and have a good day.